Hi, it's Jane. Thanks for joining me for this reading for the upcoming full moon on Wednesday, November 5th, 2025. If you remember, the full moon is a time that we think about releasing old thought patterns, old habits, releasing old energies that no longer serve us. And as I usually do, I've chosen a card for the overall energy of the full moon. And then I've picked cards for the day before, the day when the moon is at its peak, and then the day after, just to see how the energy arches and works for us. So the card that came out for the overall energy of the full moon is the Six of Earth. And remember, Earth is a suit about material and financial concerns. And that's why you see all these coins and all this financial stuff going back and forth and this big giant gold coin here. And what this card represents is a generosity and a giving and receiving. It's also an abundance. You see, there's a whole lot of different depictions of wealth here. And it's not just financial wealth and financial abundance. It's an abundance of lots of good things, joy, good feelings, opportunities, friendships, relationships doing well and going well. It's also a card about sharing your wealth of knowledge or your, financial wealth. It's giving and some receiving. A lot of people ask me why this woman is depicted in a wheelchair, and it's simply because this is the image of someone that is a friend of Radleigh Valentine, who's the author of this deck. So there you go. All right. Now, for the day before the full moon, which would be Tuesday, November 4th, the card I picked or that came out was Six of Water, water being a suit of emotions. Now, if you notice, both of these cards have the number six. And for me, in angel numbers, the six is, even as we write it, is like a circling back, a coming home sometimes, sometimes a circling back to revisit an issue or a decision or a story that we tell ourselves. And so this card in particular is about childhood and maybe revisiting childhood memories, maybe revisiting a happy time in childhood and reconsidering. And one thing that I have to kind of chuckle at with this is quite often a reading is as much for the reader as it is for the readee. And on this particular day, November 4th, my godmother, who I love dearly, will be going in for a surgical procedure. So that day, I'm going to be thinking all about someone who's been with me since childhood, as someone that I love dearly. And so it could be that way for you too, that you're thinking of people you love who have been with you forever, it seems. So, um, so yeah, and Zadkiel, the angel who is depicted on this card, um, Zadkiel is an angel that helps us with forgiveness. So maybe some of the memories you have in childhood are not that great, or maybe some of the people who've been with you since childhood, um, you're having a tough time with. And so this is about forgiveness. Forgiveness of ourselves, forgiveness of others, forgiveness of situations, forgiveness of the circumstances of our lives. And Zadkiel helps us to find the path and the middle ground to release, right? Again, that's release with the full moon, to forgive and release. Now, on the 5th, Wednesday the 5th, which is the day when the full moon is at its peak, and so it's the peak of the full moon energy, we have the awakening card. Now, this is considered a major arcana card. And whenever there's a major arcana card, we take special notice of it because it's a little extra, right? It's a little more important than the minor arcana cards. And this card talks about new perspectives. We take a pause in the action to sit back and assess, whether it be opportunities or decisions or relationships or jobs, uh, housing, reassess, right? We need a fresh perspective. That's why this guy's hanging upside down. It's a time to um, really consider. Now the angels are telling me to talk to you about this fork in the road, right? Maybe you're dealing with an issue where you have to choose one way or another. And so this card is saying, look at it from a different way. We need to reconsider. No, not reconsider. Well, yes, reconsider our perspective, right? Rather than looking at it from here, look at it from here, look at it from here. Take that time to think carefully. And the reason why we're taking that time to think carefully is because for the sixth, the card is transformation, another major arcana card where we have to really pay attention. This card is about big, significant changes that are coming. You see, there's scaffolding up in the castle. We're rebuilding, we're rebuilding, we're remodeling, we're taking a fresh perspective and maybe taking a new road. But it's a change that maybe we didn't expect. Maybe uh maybe there's an awakening here, a spiritual awakening, or acknowledging some truth that you hadn't really accepted before. Um, it could also, this card also talks about having faith and trust in the process, faith in the divine and trust in the angels that it will all be okay. The changes may be uncomfortable. It may not be something we had been hoping for, but Archangel Chamuel, who is depicted here and whose color is mint green, Shamuel is the archangel of peace, personal peace. And so know that through all of this, we can work with Shamuel to remain uh, peaceful at heart through the changes that we need to make. All right. And so have mint green around if you're feeling unsettled. Shamuel also happens to be the angel on the awakening card. So as we are considering new perspectives and getting new insights in preparation for some changes, Shamuel will see us through that whole process. And so part of the message through all of this is remember to be generous, generous with yourself and generous with others. Maybe there's patience. Maybe there's um, just some forgiveness of yourself. Maybe for things that we used to consider. Maybe old stories that we used to tell ourselves. Now that we have to let go of that in the release of the full moon, and come up with some new stories and embrace the new stories, we need to be patient with ourselves. So give ourselves, remember, we need to give yourself the generosity that you give to others as well. Now, those of you who have been following along know that I also work with not just color energy, but flower energy, because every living thing has an energy. And so normally I'll talk about a flower at this point, but I really felt drawn to this other deck, which is Tree Magic, the Tree Magic Oracle deck by Jillian Kemp. And because I really felt like we needed more than just flowers. We needed something substantial this time. This feels like a strong energy. And so I pulled the card for this full moon. I'm having trouble picking it up. Here we go. And believe it or not, the card that came up is the oak tree. The oak tree, the mighty oak. And the oak tree symbolizes strength, which is probably why we call it the mighty oak, right? And the words on the card, I'll read them to you on the top. It says, strength grows through time, bringing the reward of honestly living up to your great expectations. grows through time. So I also read, I want to read to you from the guidebook because I don't work with these cards very often and I need to be able to see, so I'm going to take off my glasses. It says, good fortune or something of great importance that you will treasure forever gravitates towards you. So that harkens back to transformation, right? Something of great importance. You will have many good luck opportunities and may have already realized one great wish. There's no end to the fulfillment of many more dreams. Your blessings cannot be prevented because heaven and fate have preordained your great success. So trust in that. Trust in the divine. Now, the interesting thing about the oak tree, some of you know I'm a master gardener. So here we go talking about trees, right? The oak tree is really essential in the ecosystem. It supports immense biodiversity and provides critical resources to a lot of insects and animals in the ecosystem. Did you know that the oak tree is the habitat for thousands of species? It plays a vital role in the health and function of our ecosystem because it hosts over 500 species of caterpillars. 500 species in one tree. And caterpillars are a critical food resource for birds. So just in that alone, there's a great feeding and a strength of the ecosystem. They are long-lived trees. And so they're around for a long time to really support the ecosystem. And it's not just, well, let me say it this way. Like every other tree, right? It cleanses the air. It pulls in carbon dioxide and it releases oxygen. So it cleanses our air. It gives us shade. It in the shade, it helps reduce the temperature so that we can have a nice shady spot to sit in the summertime. So as it heats up with climate change, we still have some coolness. The roots feed the soil. I mean, just so many things. So think about the oak tree as you are asked in this full moon to release old habits, to take a new perspective, to come through this transformation. Kind of think about the oak tree and think about all the people who you touch. Like the oak tree supports the ecosystem. How do you support your family network and your friend network and your community network by being the best you can be, by having faith that the changes coming for you, to you, and through you are for everyone's greatest good? How's that? I think that's pretty cool. So now I am actually looking forward to this week and looking forward to this newest full moon, and I hope you are too. So, if you enjoyed this reading and you want something a little more personal where I can stop saying it could be this, it could be that, it could be the other thing, please go to my website, janezysk.com, JANEZYSK, all one word.com, and sign up for a personal reading. And also, if you like the video, like and subscribe below. Thank you. And until next time, see you.